Sometimes the pressure of what other people think can become almost unbearable. It becomes this weight that we carry around, and we spend so much time thinking about that rather than some other things that we should probably be dedicating some of our mental energy to. So, in this video, I'm going to provide you with some good news. It doesn't have to be that way. We're going to talk about 3 reasons why you shouldn't care what other people think, and 1 reason that you should. Hey everyone, my name is Sherman Rivers, and like I said in this video, we're going to talk about 3 reasons why you shouldn't care what everyone else thinks, but 1 reason that you should. So let's get into it. Reason number 1 that you shouldn't care what other people think. They have their own issues. This is a big one. Anyone who has an opinion of you or thinks they know what's best for you or has anything disparaging to say about you is dealing with their own issues. Often what we see is a result of some of the things that they're going through, some of the things that are important to them, some of the battles that they're fighting, and they transfer that energy to you. A lot of the times, people who have a lot to say about you, it's based largely on their own insecurities. So what we have to do is we have to be cognizant of that, and we can't allow people to take their garbage and dump it on us. That's not fair. It's what we call a boundary violation. Um, and then there's the other side of that coin where they may not tell us what they think directly, but we tend to sense it based on how they speak and how they move through the world, the things that they say. They don't have to say it directly to us, but they make their opinion known. They make their thoughts known. And if we're not careful, we can take that and pull it to ourselves. I mean, not them putting it on us per se in a direct conversation, but we can internalize that stuff and allow that to kind of steer our decisions. And that's a burden. That is a chain. I call them chains of enslavement. We can allow ourselves to become enslaved by the chain of someone else's opinion, and that's what it is. It's their opinion. I'll talk a little bit more about that in just a minute. Another reason is that we got to be very careful how we approach our self-esteem. It's called self-esteem for a reason. It's self-esteem. What we have to make sure that we don't do is base our esteem or the way that we feel about ourselves, the regard that we have for ourselves, on someone else. And we can do that in a couple different ways. One way we can do that is by looking at their example, look at what they have accomplished, look at what they have done, and comparing ourselves to them. And that's a very slippery slope. Everybody's situation is different. Everyone's journey is different. And we can't let the fact that someone else has done well affect us in a negative way. By the same token, we can't let the fact that someone else has done poorly affect us in a negative way. And when I say that, I'm talking about people that came before you, your parents, people that you may look up to in some sort of way, and because they went through something in their life, we allow that to affect how we feel about ourselves, strictly because of either a social or a genetic connection to that person. We got to be very, very careful when we do that. And then the other part that we're talking about here is those direct comments, those direct attitudes. If we let those in and we let that determine how we feel about ourselves, then that's what we call them esteem. That's allowing our regard to be controlled by someone else, and that's a very dangerous place to be in. And then the third reason that we shouldn't care about what other people think is that it has to do with free will. You see, we're all given a gift of our own free will, the ability to do things as we see fit. to make the decisions that we want to make, to take the actions that we want to take. Now, there are consequences to that, obviously, but we get to make that decision. If not, we're not alive. We're not conscious beings. We're not in control of our own lives. So we're given free will. The thing about free will is it must be both respected and protected. We should respect the free will of other people. That's their decision. And this is why it's so important not to get dragged into these conversations about things that we can't control. You see it all the time happen in politics. How many people spend the greater part of their day thinking about what's going on with the President of the United States of America? When in truth, what the President does has very little impact on your day-to-day life. But some of us know more about what he's doing as the CEO of the country than we know about what we're going to do as the CEO of our own life. So what it is a mismanagement of energies. Sure, it can be interesting. Sure, it is important at some point or at some level. But is that the most important thing? Is that what we should be giving all of our energy to? So when we don't respect the free will of others, they have an opinion about something. Once again, it could be one of the big ones, politics, or it could be religion, something like that. And because we don't respect their free will, we decide that we want to infringe upon that. Or it's our place to say something that they didn't ask for. They didn't ask for our advice. They didn't ask for our opinion, any of that good stuff. It comes down to energy management. Do you want to give your energy to that, or do you want to give your energy to something that's within your control? Now, the flip side of that coin is that although we have to respect the free will of others, we have to demand that others respect our free will. We have to draw these lines called boundaries. And these are the lines that they don't get to step over. They don't get to violate these lines. And when that occurs, we have to let them know that this is a boundary. I control this here. And you don't get to step inside of that boundary unless I ask you to. So we have to demand the respect for our free will. And when we care too much about what other people's opinions are and what they think, we're allowing them to infringe upon that. And now we're not making decisions based upon our free will. We're making decisions based upon either what other people think or what we think they think. Sometimes they may not even be thinking that thing, but we have an ability to, in the most basic sense of it, put words in their mouth. They didn't even say that, but we assume that that's the way they feel or that's the way they think, and then we move according to that, and then we lose control. So those are 3 reasons why you shouldn't care what other people think. Number 1, they've got their own issues. Number 2, self-esteem is about the self. We control that, how we regard ourselves, how we feel about ourselves, not them. Self-esteem, not them esteem. And 3 is that we have to demand the respect of our free will. So it's 3 reasons why we shouldn't care about what other people think. Now, why should we care about what someone else thinks? Sometimes we can go too far off to a side. And we lose our bearing because we say, you know what, I don't care what anybody thinks. I'm not going to care what anybody thinks. But that may not be the best way to go about it because what other people think can have value. It can be valuable to us. For one, it gives us another perspective. I don't know if you ever heard of this now, but there's this thing called the fog of war. Sometimes it's very difficult to see the battle that's going on when you're in the fight. There's a fog around, that fog of war. It's confusion. It's fast paced. There's a lot going on. And it can prevent us from seeing the whole picture sometimes. Sometimes other people are able to see some things that we can't see. And in the conversation, if it's a permissive conversation and you're having an open conversation and they have permission to weigh in on some things, then you should welcome that. Constructive criticism can be a great thing. But also on that note, even if they violate your boundaries, it's not always that clean cut, because now we have to think about, is what they said factual or is it an opinion? And that matters, because their opinions, it don't matter so much, but it's those facts. If people are seeing something about us and it's factual based and it's something that we probably should address, then we should take that for what it's worth. Not something that makes us feel bad, but something constructive, something that we can use to kind of work some things in our mind, and that can be a number of different things. You don't finish things. You're grossly obese. There's a ton of different things, and they can feel hurtful. They can feel really hurtful. But if it's a factual observation, what we shouldn't do is just reject that outright and use that as an excuse to not do what's best for ourselves in the end. So that's one reason why we should care what people think, a different perspective, a chance to see some of the things that other people see that we might not see. So I hope it's been helpful to you. If you feel like there's someone else out there who can benefit from that information, please go ahead and share it with them. Love to hear your comments. I would love to hear what your opinion is about what I had to say. If you can add to it, if there's a different thought. I mean, it's an open conversation. We're all adults here, so I welcome you to comment in the comment section below. Thanks for checking out this video. If you have not subscribed to the channel and you find value here, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Hit that bell notification button, so as I produce more content, you'll be alerted of that, so we can have a real conversation. I look forward to it. Take care. If you received value from this content or know someone that you think would, go ahead and subscribe to this channel. And after doing so, be sure to click the bell button for notifications when new content is produced.